welcome back to another episode of the Cody Tucker Show. As always, I'm your host, Cody Tucker. So, rocking the old Bruce Springsteen shirt. So that if on the off chance Aaron Lewis sees it, then it might drive him to have a fucking aneurysm. Boy, I saw this, the piece of this interview. So in case people don't know, former, or I guess, or maybe current, who the fuck knows? Also, who cares? Stained frontman Aaron Lewis apparently just learned how to read. So congratulations, for that. I think we all were kind of under the assumption that you probably couldn't. So he finally figured out that Born in the USA is not a Toby Keith style pro-America anthem, which anyone with, a quarter of a fucking brain should be able to figure that one out. It's, it's not masked in a whole lot of, metaphor and, hyperbole. I mean, it's all very direct. It's not a pro-American government song, which I thought was Aaron Lewis's whole fucking shtick was, hate the government, drain the fucking swamp. It's very interesting how, unless you're, a washed up singer from a band who was like kind of good, but not really, who now becomes a country singer because you can't make a career doing rock music anymore, that they're the only ones who can be, they can talk about how bad, the government is. But if somebody like Bruce Springsteen does it, oh, well, he must hate the American people. It's like, yeah, I don't think that's the case. He's not saying that the people in America fucking suck. He's saying that the American government that sent, a shit ton of young kids to Vietnam to die for something that didn't need to fucking happen. He's saying that group of people sucks. The ones who sent them are the ones who suck, not the ones who got sent. It's so fucking funny. Let me see the quote. I think I have it right here somewhere. Yeah. He said, I'm angry at myself for not seeing it for so long and actually giving him, in my mind, the credit of being a representation of blue collar America. So I guess Aaron Lewis is the representation of blue collar America. Let me tell you something. Now, I am a massive Bruce Springsteen fan. If that isn't, pretty fucking clear by now. Massive fan. Do I think he is a representation of blue collar America? Not necessarily. I think charging a fuck ton of money for your shows, doesn't exactly appeal to the working class. Do I think that you should appeal to the working class? Nah. I think you should get as much money as you can get. Fuck them. And I let it be known, I'm in that group. Not necessarily that I'm working class. I'm not working class in the sense that I work, because unless you consider this to be work, I do not have a job. I think as far as most people are concerned, I am, gainfully unemployed, and I tend to stay that way for as long as possible. Again, if you don't consider this to be work, which, I kind of toe the line on that. Like, am I actually working, or am I just talking into a fucking camera and posting on social media? So, is that work, Nah. But, regardless, money-wise, yeah, I'm pretty much in the world. I'm fiscally in the Aaron Lewis group. But I like to think of myself as being in the Springsteen crowd. I live well above my means in my mind. In my mind, I'm a person who's, very highfalutin, as they may say. And Bruce Springsteen, although I do think a lot of his songs are meant to appeal to the lower class, folk, they're not the ones that are paying $400 to go to a Bruce Springsteen show. Do I think that that's, wrong? I mean, I kind of go in and out on that, actually. Sometimes I think, God damn, do you really need to charge $400 for a show? Like, you've made a fuckload of money. You'll probably be dead in the next 10 or 15 years. You could do at least one tour where it's let's say like a cap of $100. Nobody pays more than $100 to go to this show. You could probably get away with that. But, should he? Fuck no. Make all the money you can make. It's the same argument that I get in with people about like the WNBA. I do not want the WNBA players to not make, I want them to make more money if that money is available to them. I'm not saying that I think they deserve a certain amount of money. Fuck no. I think everybody deserves the amount of money that you get. If you work at McDonald's, you deserve a pretty fucking low amount of money. If you are, an anesthesiologist, you deserve more money. Your job is more important. But not even just that your job is more important. That's how much you get paid. You should get that amount of money. I've gotten into arguments plenty of times with people who, will say something stupid like that we have too many billionaires. There shouldn't be so many billionaires. Yeah, there should. We should. It'd be great if there were even more of them. I'd like to throw my hat in the ring. The same people who think money isn't important, and that and I'm not saying that it just solves all your problems, but it sure as hell, I'll tell you this: when I had no money, and I mean 0.00 in the old bank account, I had a little bit more stress than I do now. Yeah. And I'm not just, Scrooge McDuck and swimming in a bathtub full of gold coins, although I would like to be. I'm not at that level by any means, but I don't have to worry about that. I'm not worried oh my God, am I going to be able to afford, blah, blah, blah. Oh, fuck, I got to wait till Friday. So, oh, shit, this is, yeah. I'm not having those thoughts anymore. So, without having those thoughts, I'm kind of less stressed. Now, imagine if I had a fucking $1 billion. Oh, my God. Stress completely gone. I don't have to worry about a goddamn thing. I just think it's very interesting how people look at money, and people look at people in certain classes, and how a person like an Aaron Lewis, a dipshit, it will shit on Bruce Springsteen because he doesn't think he's representing the blue collar, the working class. Neither one of you are poor. I mean, Aaron Lewis, he might be close, actually, for all I know. But in all fairness, he probably isn't. He probably has, I'm sure he has a hell of a lot more money than I do. So, I mean, how are you representative of the working class? Because you're not one of them. It's the same shit that, with I don't know, just somebody like a Bernie Sanders. It's well, you've never had a job, an actual job. Your job's always just been, being a politician. And I think he's got a pretty decent amount of money. I'm sure he probably gives away some of it. Who knows? Or there's assholes like Warren Buffett are telling people that they should, people should pay more in taxes. Well, Warren, you can pay more if you'd like to. I can assure you there is no one at the IRS who is going to say, whoa, we don't want that much money. They will gladly take as much money as you want to give them. So how about you give them way more money? If you think everybody else should be paying more. Because I can assure you it's going to affect you a hell of a lot less than it's going to affect, most people. But also, we obviously pay way too much in fucking taxes. There's no reason that, I guess it kind of depends on the bracket you're in, but say like around 20% or so. I'm, just kind of meeting in the middle there somewhere. But, there's no reason why a fifth of the money you make should go to a bunch of shit that you don't ever see again. Some of you do, especially more like on a local level, but I don't know. And I usually don't want to talk about politics a whole lot, but I just saw this, this Aaron Lewis bullshit, and it just really put some sand in my vagina pretty bad. Because a lot of it is just, how do you get duped by song lyrics? Like, how can you be that stupid? So I don't get that. I don't know. I think admitting that you got duped by elementary reading level song lyrics doesn't make you look great. And I guess, it seems like a lot of people agree with them. So maybe there's a lot of people who just can't. They just hear Born in the USA being chanted, in a Springsteen voice, and they immediately think, oh, well, this must be a fucking, like Bruce Springsteen's the new, what's his name? Lynn Greenwood or whatever his name is. Yeah. Ridiculous. Absolutely absurd. I'll stand with the boss. Yeah. What's crazy is that Bruce Springsteen and Barack Obama had a podcast. And you would think that, just by name recognition alone, that it would be the biggest podcast in the world. And I can't think of a single person who ever listened to an episode of it. Actually, I don't even know if I went up to, let's say I went to like a mall and I asked 1,000 people, who does Bruce Springsteen have a podcast with? I would be surprised if more than 10 people answered Barack Obama. And that seems wild. Like a former president and arguably one of the most famous American musicians of all time. Maybe they just have nothing to fucking talk about. Granted, cut from the same cloth in that sense, but yeah. Well, Aaron Lewis, if you're out there somewhere, I hope, I hope you pick up a book every once in a while. Really, work on that comprehension. So it'll do you a lot of favors in life, especially for somebody who is a fucking lyricist. Like, this isn't like it was, like somebody playing for the fucking Chicago Bears saying this. This is a person who writes music, writes lyrics, and still has a hard time comprehending the meaning behind one of the most famous songs of, of the 80s. Song that everybody knows. Yeah, I don't get that, but yeah. It's just that whole thing pisses me off. The whole fucking, my career's washed. Country music is now fucking massive, and being, not just a country musician, but being a douchebag who sings country music is now like a trendy thing to do. And so all these people are just kind of like hopping on that bandwagon. Which, goddamn, country music sucks in general. There's a few from way back who are pretty decent, like your Waylon Jenningses and, your K.D. Langs. But, I think that, that ship sailed a long time ago. And so now you just have all these fucking, I don't know. It's like people who were like a bouncer at a Texas Roadhouse, and they're now saying, well, fuck it, I can somewhat put together a song. And really, most of them are not putting together a song. They, you go to a city like Nashville, where, the guy valet parking your car probably has 3 number one, like 3 hit singles that he's co-written. And yeah, you're gonna find a group of people that can write your songs for you, and so you end up with absolute dick stains like Morgan Wallen, who have this like massive career because they hire a team of people to put together what is basically taking they're basically doing like redneck Mad Libs and turning them into hit songs. I gotta tell you, I don't know if there's another person on this planet that pisses me off more than like Morgan Wallen. Absolute garbage. Music is terrible. He seems like a real fucking piece of shit. I feel like I grew up with a lot of Morgan Wallens. And I can assure you, there's not a single one of them that I would piss on if they were on fire. Yeah. Just scumbag people. And he just kind of, he's like he is the alpha and the omega of that group. But, cheers to you, I guess. You're living your dream. The walkout thing. What a douchey fucking thing to do. It's just so weird. Don't like it. Yeah. Don't like him. I mean, yeah, he's like hick Taylor Swift. That's pretty much, and I can't stand both of those people basically to the same level. And good Lord, I mean, you gotta really be careful saying anything remotely negative about Taylor Swift. You'll have, a goddamn SWAT team breaking into your house. Swift team. A SWAFT. Yeah. Yeah, have a SWAFT van show up and, you'll be never heard from again. God. Yeah. But that's how it is, That is life. Team Bruce Springsteen. All right. Time to move on. Should have moved on probably a long time ago. Moving on now. Okay, so speaking of of overrated rednecks, the new Cowboys Netflix documentary just came out. It was America's, I got it pulled up here, I think. Yeah, America's Team, the Gambler and his Cowboys. Came out on Netflix. I watched it. So need to preface, I'm not a Cowboys fan, even though I grew up in East Texas. Obviously you would imagine, oh, you must be a Dallas Cowboys fan. I am not. Happen to be a Raiders fan, which not much better. It's just the the Hispanic version of the Dallas Cowboys, which I think by nature, me being a Raiders fan makes me at least 1/16 Latin American. So I don't know what that lets me get away with. I guess I will find out the hard way. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you buy a Raiders jersey online, your information gets sent right to the fucking ICE database. Like, we got one. Oh, goodness. So, yeah. yeah, so this documentary came out, and I wanted to watch it because, I mean, obviously I love sports, love football, fucking massive, massive fan of the NFL in general. I mean, obviously the Raiders over everything else, but I just love football as a whole. And I love sports documentaries. That I'm a sucker for like a good, for like a 30 for 30. I think those are some of the greatest documentaries ever made. Are the ESPN 30 for 30s. The U, like the one they did on the Miami Hurricanes. The one on You Don't Know Bo, the Bo Jackson one. That is incredible. There's so many of them. Man, I'm trying to, I mean, there's just a fucking million of those 30 for 30s. And like, I'll watch them and not even really, like, sometimes I won't know anything about what that story is going to be. I'll just see the title, look at like the description. I'm like, oh, I don't know shit about this, but fuck it. I've watched all the others. I guess I'll watch this one too. I'll put it on and fucking watch it. And it's amazing. Like halfway through, I'm fucking crying like a, like a little bitch. And that's that, it's always very, very good. So big fan, sports documentaries, big fan of football. Grew up in Texas, still in Texas, surrounded by a family of diehard Dallas Cowboys fans who grew up in, well, like I'll say parents, grandparents grew up in, seeing both the 70s heyday and the 90s heyday of the Dallas Cowboys. I didn't see any of this shit. So when they're telling me about all this, they may as well be talking about the fucking Tooth Fairy or the Civil War. Yeah, neither one of those things I have any firsthand knowledge of. So, yeah. So I was like, well, fuck it. I'll watch this, see how it is. And I'll tell you, if you're wanting to watch a documentary about the Dallas Cowboys, I'd probably find something else. If you're wanting to watch, a fucking, it was 10 parts, I think. I don't know. I just binged through the whole, yeah, if you're wanting to watch, if you're wanting to spend a shift watching a Jerry Jones circle jerk, then boy, is this the documentary for you. I mean, and I get it. It's America's team, the gambler, and his Cowboys. But fuck me. I mean, why? Why do that? Like, it was just so weird, which I guess maybe I didn't realize that that's what it was going to be. So it sort of threw me for a loop. And also, I know this whole thing is supposed to make Jerry Jones look good. I don't think it did. I think it made Jerry Jones look like just a, I don't know what the word is. I believe there's probably some sort of Yiddish word, which, despite what you may think, I don't have much background there, but, I think there's a word for like somebody who just comes in and just causes a ruckus for no reason. Is that a schlemiel? Is that what a schlemiel is? I don't know. I think it is. Maybe not. But there is some sort of word for that. For a person who just comes in and for no good reason just causes a ruckus. And you look at him and you go, well, why the fuck are you doing that? It's like, if you have like a dog, let's say you have two dogs. You tend to have one who's like very mild-mannered, doesn't really do a whole lot, just kind of goes, follows the rules, does what he's told. And then you get one who's just you're like, well, why are you licking that? And where'd this piss come from? Why is there a half-eaten snake in the living room? You get that kind of shit going on. Jerry Jones is that dog where, the whole documentary is just talking about how, he saw a vision and he executed it no matter what the NFL wanted. And it's Jerry Jones versus the NFL and all this bullshit. Going against the grain isn't always a fucking good thing to do. It doesn't mean that you're some fucking genius. Now I get it. Now, granted, you could say to me, hey, dipshit, what's the wealthiest sports franchise in the world? Well, that would be the Dallas Cowboys. And if your whole goal is to just turn your team into Disney, or Exxon, then yeah, Jerry Jones definitely did that. And like Disney, it hasn't been worth a shit since the 90s. So I think there is a little bit to do with that. And also, how much of that is Jerry Jones? This documentary did not, in all the hours of this series, they didn't answer that. Like, how much did Jerry Jones actually do to, what did he do? And I guess, in the 90s, Jerry Jones was probably on his A game. But also, I think most of this success is, and they really fuck old Jimmy Johnson right in the ass on this thing. But Jimmy Johnson, I believe, had a lot more to do with boosting up the Dallas Cowboys out of fucking the shambles that they were in the 80s. I think Jimmy Johnson deserves probably 90% of the credit for that. Now, obviously, like Jerry Jones, the one brings Jimmy Johnson, it's like, well, doesn't he deserve the credit? No. No, and a little, 10%. I think Jerry Jones deserves about 10% of the credit. I think Jimmy Johnson deserves the rest. And that is arguably the reason why the Cowboys are still such a popular and massively money-wise, massively successful sports team, is that they had this epic run in the 90s with some of the most iconic players in NFL history. Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, Deion Sanders. And I mean, that's just the big names. And then the whole team surrounding them. Fucking iconic people. Old Moose. So I don't know. I feel like I just feel like the documentary really chose to paint Jerry Jones as being the only reason that any of this happened. And I just find that very hard to believe. And then you look at, let's look at the Cowboys of the past 35 years. When were they ever good? In the 90s. Was it 93 through 96 is the peak of that? Okay, Jerry Jones was the owner, Jimmy Johnson coach. Were they ever good again? I mean, I guess Barry Switzer kind of caught the tail end of that, but really it was just because of what Jimmy Johnson fucking did, and then Barry Switzer just kind of got the leftovers and was still able to, to make lemonade out of lemons. I mean, really, that's a horrible analogy. He really just made lemonade out of lemonade. There was already a jug of very good lemonade sitting there, and there was a little bit left, and Barry Switzer was like, I could make one more glass. I could pour this, do one more glass. Maybe add a little bit of water, a little extra sugar, and by sugar, I mean cocaine, and voila, one more run. So, and then things really went to shit, and they have been that way ever since. Now, Jimmy Johnson leaves, again, things go to shit. And have stayed this way. All the different changes. Fucking Bill Parcells comes in and can't do a goddamn thing, to change. The run with old, Freckles McGee, Jason Garrett, nothing. Yeah, Tony Romo, pretty good quarterback. They can't do shit with him. So all this time, nothing's happened. Common denominator, Jerry Jones. Now, the best thing, if you are a Cowboys fan, you're watching this, which you probably are not enjoying anything I'm saying. You can probably rest easy knowing this motherfucker's going to be dead probably pretty soon. and you don't got to worry about this bullshit. See, and then that's where I kind of come in with my favorite team, Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, obviously, it was always the Oakland Raiders for me growing up. And I've always just been such a massive fan. And they knew what they were doing. Like Al Davis used to be the owner of the Raiders, in case you don't know. Al Davis, very, grab him by the balls type fella. Just win, baby. All these things, Al Davis stood up against the NFL. He had a bit of a hate relationship with was it Pete Rozelle, I believe, who was the commissioner of the NFL at the time before Roger Goodell. Like Al Davis, Jerry Jones do have a lot in common as far as being, renegades and outlaws within the NFL. Al Davis had the wherewithal, though, to kick the bucket before it just really went bad. And you could kind of say that he probably should kick the bucket about 10 years before he did. Because he started going the way of Jerry Jones. And it started going down, and then he died. And it's like, oh, fucking finally. Now, part of the problem, though, is that the heir to the throne is his, the man who swam from his nuts, Mark Davis, who may be a bigger dipshit than his old man. And that's the problem where us Raiders fans, that's the issue that we've found ourselves in, is that, oh no, we've got a worse version of the old bastard that ruined this thing. And I think that's kind of what the Cowboys might be in. They might be in that kind of situation, but you never know until Jerry Jones kicks the bucket, which, like I said, could be fucking any day now. Which means, speaking of, I should probably update my death pool. Or at least, start working on the draft. It's 2026. I think I might have to add Jerry Jones. I haven't really given Jerry Jones much thought. Which is probably why I've been in such a, good mood. But yeah, that is somebody that would actually be a pretty good candidate. Because God, he looks like those eyes are trying to escape. As much as, they're trying their best. Like, get us out of this thing. Oh, boy. Yeah. Well, that's enough Dallas Cowboys talk. I think that's probably good for the year, actually. The NFL season is coming up. So I probably will be talking about football quite a bit. Actually, do I need to do that this week or next? Probably next week. If you're new to all this, and if you are, if this is the first time watching this, good Lord, I'm sure this will probably be your last, which is understandable. But I do, like, whenever the NFL season's getting ready to kick off, I do try to predict the winners of basically the final four teams, predict the Super Bowl, and then predict the winner. And again, I've only gotten it right once. It's a pretty great feeling. I have not gotten it right in a while. It was a Super Bowl when Tom Brady won with the Buccaneers. I predicted, the AFC and NFC championship game, the winner of each game, and then the Super Bowl winner. So, which is really just a long-winded way for me to brag about myself a little. So, yeah. All right. Probably should move on. All right. So, sort of back in line with the, people saying stupid shit in interviews. Pete Davidson did one where he gave an interview, talking about, I guess, just like the last few years of, his career, Which I'll say this, I'm kind of a fan. I thought King of Staten Island was very good. And then also there's a movie which a lot of people haven't seen, but I thought it was good, is Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. It's a horror comedy. Very good movie. One that I was not expecting much out of. And yeah, it was very good. So if you haven't watched either one of those two films, do yourself a favor, check them out. But I just saw this and I was like, well, my God, I mean, why say any of the things you're saying? So the quote is, so basically he was talking about, the fact that Pete Davidson has been banging all these like super hot women in the past couple of years. And I guess, and so people were like, God damn, Pete Davidson. I mean, he's fucking goofy looking as shit. Probably, smells like stale weed and cat piss, if I had to guess. What the hell's going on there? And it's not a money thing, because these people have probably more money than he does, like Kate Beckinsale, Kim Kardashian, whoever. So this guy must just have a fucking monster dick. And I guess he does not like that people have been saying this. So the quote was, I don't want to victimize myself in any way, which is a hilarious thing to do right before you victimize yourself. So I don't want to victimize myself in any way, but the sexual, I don't want to victimize. Oh my God. Slow it down. Slow it down. I don't want to victimize myself in any way, but the sexualization of me, if I was a girl, there'd be a march for it. Boo fucking who. Life has to be so good if having people talk about how big your dick is a is a painful moment in your life. And now granted, I'm right there with you, buddy. Stay strong. No. I just think it's a fucking hilarious. It's weird how, like, I know for a fact that all these people have PR reps. They have a PR person basically just ensures that nothing mind-bogglingly, saying that it slowly made it seem like it was not the right way to say it. Mind-bogglingly. Yeah. Mind-bogglingly stupid. Having somebody, making sure that something like that doesn't get said publicly, that's like their job, That's what you're paying them a lot of money to do. And yet it still seems to happen all the time, which makes you think, like, I should quit doing everything that I'm doing and become a PR rep. I think that's what my calling has been this whole time, is to be a person who knows that this is going to look bad and I stop it from happening. Because I'm very good at pointing out people's flaws, or flaws in general. Very good at pointing them out. Now, granted, when it's this way, not when it's this way. Which, I'll get there at some point. Who knows? But I can point out if something is dumb as shit. And that's what a PR rep, I think, really, in general does. They see that something, oh, you shouldn't have said that. That was dumb as fuck. Let's get back to the person. Hey, don't print that. That's their job. And yet somehow a fucking quote like that comes out. I don't want to victimize myself, but an amazing way to start a sentence as a adult man. My God. Like, what are you a victim of? Like, what? I mean, that you were being sexualized? And you think there would be a march for your sexualization? Let me tell you something, buddy. Nobody was sexualizing you just as a person. They were just talking about the fact that you probably have a big old dick. which I guess is a sexualization, but still, yeah, I mean, for fuck's sake, man. Like, there are some double standards that are supposed to be double standard. You should be able to, like, no guy should be feeling bad if somebody compliments the size of their penis. For God's sakes. What world are we in where that is a thing? We're like, oh my God, I'm so hurt by this. If somebody did that to me, if a stranger said, hey, you got a pretty nice penis on you. You know where that compliment would take me in life? 10 years from now, I'd be, I'd drop like some papers into like a mud puddle, have a car drive by, splash water on me and be like, God, could this day get any worse? And then I would think back, God, remember when that stranger said you got a pretty decent dick on you? And then a day turned around and I'm skipping and whistling, to wherever it is, to jury duty or wherever it is I'm going. So that's just an incredible feat of just dumbassery. I mean, my God. And also, women are sexualized like crazy. Is he unaware that that's a thing? Like, you mean you were fucking Kim Kardashian because of your in-depth discussions? No. It's because she's got a fat old ass and, and you're getting Kanye sloppy seconds. Think a little talent may rub off on you amongst whatever other, STIs that you got. I that's how shit works. Sexualized shit. You put a hot chick in a beer commercial, you sell more beer. Put a hot dude in a fucking, T-Mobile commercial. People switching carriers. Fucking just how it works. Yeah, sometimes I just don't really know. Like me and him are probably the same age, if I had to guess. But sometimes I feel like, well, there's no way that we're from the same generation. Not just him, I mean, just people who have that kind of like mindset. Like I don't feel like, I feel much more in the Gen X generation as far as like mindset goes. I mean, actually, as far as most things go, taste in music, taste in movies, taste in general, same back issues, knee problems, very much in common. And I damn sure would never say something that fucking stupid. I'll say other things that are stupid. I've said quite a few just in the past 40 minutes. Said a lot of stupid things, in that amount of time. I would never be upset if somebody told me I had a nice penis. So, if anyone watching happens to see me out in public somewhere, feel free to keep that in mind. My God. Yeah, that's something. Well, probably should move on from that too. So, yep. Moving on. Okay, and the Jesus. So, final topic of the day, which obviously this is not necessarily like news. Everybody kind of knows this is happening, but like HBO Max, for some reason, is doing their own version of Harry Potter. And for reasons that I will never understand, they have decided to just completely fucking ruin it. Which they have to be doing this on purpose because they hate J.K. Rowling. There's no way that they actually think people are going to like this. So an image, I saw this image, it came out from the set with this is the kid who's playing Harry Potter, and then the guy who plays in Hagrid, I believe, is Nick Frost, if I'm not mistaken. Which Like there's no one. I mean, now granted, this kid looks fucking. Is this AI? This certainly seems like AI because that kid looks insanely similar to Daniel Radcliffe. That's fucking. Well, I haven't like actually looked at this picture like blown up. Oh my God, that's fucking crazy. So yeah, actually, that casting's pretty decent, but also not really because if the whole point is to cast people who look like the people from the original movie, just fucking then why do it? Just stick with the original movies, which I will say is cast fucking perfect. Like though, and I don't know, like you just have to be you have to be a complete fucking idiot to think that this is a good idea. And I'm not even talking about from like a moral ethic. I don't give a fuck about that, you know, whatever. From just like from a business standpoint, or to go back to the whole, you know, that I should be a fucking PR rep. Like what? Like, is the point of this just to piss people off so that they watch it out of hate? Because people will tend to hate watch things at the same rate, if not more, than love watch. Love watch. I don't know if that's an actual phrase or wordage, but yeah, who gives a shit? But like, is that the reason behind this? Is they're just banking on people to hate this fucking thing so much that they watch it just to be like, oh, let's just see how bad it is? And then also, like, do these actors know that that's why they're being cast, if that's the case? Because I feel like old Nick Frost, you know, he's probably a pretty decent fella. I mean, I'm a pretty big fan, you know, of Shaun of the Dead and At World's End and Hot Fuzz. That trilogy, fucking incredible. But like, is he aware that he's been cast in this shit show? Like that, I don't know. I mean, obviously he's aware he's casting, but like, is he aware that if that's the reasoning behind this? Because I can't for the life of me figure out why someone thought this was a good idea. And now, like, I'm looking at this picture, and again, Nick Frost seems like a great guy, you know, he's a good actor and whatnot. I ain't fucking Hagrid. And you will never convince me that it is. This is all absolute bullshit right here. This is not what is supposed to be going on. I do not like this. And, you know, in the Snape situation, oh boy, that's a whole other, you know, can of worms there. And, you know, I mean, I guess, you know, as far as like what I think about it, yeah, I think stick to the way that people fucking look in the book. Simple as that. Don't change shit. Like, I know they're not real. I know Severus Snape isn't real. I know how he's described in the book. I know, and it's not just a Harry Potter thing, it's just a thing in general. Like, just play it fucking safe and just look at the description in the book. How are they describing the book? Find an actor who fits that description. No matter what. Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, it doesn't fucking matter. Male, female, whatever the hell they are in the book, just make them that. Just play ball. I don't understand. I mean, I do understand because they just feel like, you know, they have to fit, you know, a fucking quota, which, how does that make you feel good? To know that, like the only reason you're not casting something because you're the best actor. You're casting something because, well, I mean, the actors who we think would be better, we're not going to do it because, they look like the person in the book. We can't be having that. So congratulations, you got the job. Like that can't, I mean, I guess, you know, who knows? I just find this thing to be just an abomination waiting to happen. Like it's so bad. The casting is so terrible. Again, not just the Snape situation. I cannot emphasize that enough. I'm not just upset about that. It's all of it. It's not even just the casting. It's that this thing is happening. Why do this? Why take something that is fucking perfect as is? Why take that and just make a horrible new version of it. Why take pizza and put fucking pineapple on it? Now, granted, I may or may not be trying a little slice of that on the other podcast, which if you aren't watching Double Wide Dogs, go ahead and give it a watch. There we go. There's the shameless plug. Plugging myself. Wouldn't be the first time. But you know, if I don't know, like, you know, why take something that's already good and, you know, you can't make it better? Why make it different then? Like, if you have something, you're like, well, this is perfect, then why would you say, but let me start from scratch and see what happens? I don't get it. I'll never understand the reasoning behind this. I think it's just because they fucking hate J.K. Rowling. Which, that's a bunch of bullshit. I've tried looking up, because I guess I was sort of somewhat clueless about the whole hate. I mean, not clueless about the hatred that people have towards her, but clueless as to what it was exactly, what it was that she has said that's pissed people off so much. And I went through and read it all. Unless there's something that I didn't find, I don't see what the fucking big deal was. She just doesn't want, you know, it was more about the sports thing, you know. That was mostly the shit that I saw. It's like, how is that a controversial take? That you don't want men competing against women, especially in like a physical fucking thing like that. Yeah, I don't get that. Then you have fucking douchebags like Mr. Touchy-Feely, what's his name? Pedro Pascal. You have like people like that asshole who are like, fuck J.K. Rowling, like, and, you know, going on these tirades about it. It's like, well, you're a fucking creep, dude. Like, yeah, I mean, she may not like trans people, who knows? I have a feeling she probably doesn't mind them, if I'm just being honest. Also, she is the same person who I remember people fucking hated her whenever I was, you know, this is probably, I guess, whenever I was like around in high school or so. People turned on her hard because she said that Dumbledore was gay. And people were like, what the fuck? You are a bitch. Because she said Dumbledore's gay. And, I mean, like, that seems to be like something she'd be on your side about, you know? And yeah, so people have just forgotten about that. They don't give a fuck about that. Yeah, I don't. Like, if somebody who took all that heat, stood in the damn kitchen, 10 toes down, stood in the kitchen, took that heat to say, no, I want one of the most influential characters of this series to be someone who's gay, to show people that, hey, you know, like, it doesn't have to be like their whole identity. It doesn't have to be a thing that makes you love or hate them. It's just a thing about them. And, you know, and this person can be like a good role model, regardless of, you know, their sexual orientation. If somebody who's like that is saying the things that they're saying about, like, you know, trans people in sports or just trans people in general, shouldn't that make you like stop and go, damn, am I wrong? Like, have I gone too far off the deep end? Because I think that's a pretty good sign. Like, when you have people like Bill Maher, who's always been seen as, you know, very like a liberal, left-wing type fellow. And when he's criticizing people on that side, saying like, what the fuck are y'all doing? Y'all are crazy. Shouldn't you stop and go, oh, are we? Like, have we gone too far? Have we jumped the shark? Because oftentimes I think that's the case. It's not, it's that y'all have gone too far with this shit. So, I don't know. Again, this thing's going to suck either way. It doesn't fucking matter. I mean, they found a kid that looks exactly like Daniel Radcliffe again, you know, unless it's AI that I'm looking at, which very well could be. And unless that's the case, then, good on them for finding a white kid with shaggy, with shaggy dark hair and glasses. I mean, must have been hay and a needle stack for you, but yeah, I don't know. Insane. Absolute insanity. People are out of their fucking minds. People don't know what they're doing, but that is the world that we live in. And, just watch the original Harry Potters. Cancel your HBO Max subscription. That makes you feel better. Solidarity. Yeah. Well, that'll do it. I think I've talked way too much. Yeah. Too much talking. Not enough action. Story of my life. So, yep. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And goodbye.